Hi and welcome back to another Mr. Mashup video, where this time we'll talk about all the different War Machine armored suits in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There are about 10 different designs for War Machine here, so first we'll talk about the first 5 as we are showing you guys here, the ones that appeared starting from Iron Man 1 to Captain America Civil War. So the first one here is the predecessor to War Machine itself, which is the Iron Man Mark II suit. In the movie Iron Man 2, we see that Rhodey confiscated this suit from Tony and brought it to the US military to be weaponized. And apart from the repulsors at the palms, there seems to be no weapons in its system. So that was Iron Man Mark II. Next we'll move on to the first real War Machine suit, which is War Machine Mark I. It's basically a heavily modified version of Iron Man Mark II with weapons and armor additions, the obvious one being the minigun attached to its back. And as seen in the movie Iron Man 2, the variety of firearms here were provided by Hammer Industries, including the overrated X-Wife missile that turned out to be a dud. So we are done with War Machine Mark I. Let's move on to War Machine Mark II. This is the first War Machine suit that Tony Stark developed exclusively for his pal Rhodey, and we see Tony presenting it to Rhodey in the Iron Man 3 prequel comic. A noticeable feature would be the twin-barreled machine gun mounted on its back, and we see it in action fighting Ultron minions in the movie Avengers Age of Ultron. And then we see that very same War Machine Mark II armor getting a new paint job, being rebranded as the Iron Patriot. This happened during the events of Iron Man 3, where it was repainted in the motif of the American flag in a design similar to Captain America's costume. This is all for PR purposes, as the name and image of War Machine seemed too aggressive. Moving on, we've got the War Machine Mark III as seen in Captain America Civil War, the one Rhodey wore when he got his crippling injury. It's significantly bulkier than Mark II, but with more firepower and better flexibility. There's a melee weapon, the War Hammer, and there's now a 4-barreled machine gun on its back. There's even a sonic cannon that delivers high-frequency pulses. So those were the first 5 War Machine suits, and we have 5 more designs coming right up, the ones shown in the rest of the MCU Phase 3 until Avengers Endgame. We'll talk about all of these 5 in detail. So the next one is War Machine Mark IV in Avengers Infinity War. This is the first suit designed following Rhodey's injury, following his paralysis. It comes with a built-in walking aid and is significantly more armored around the torso area and lower back to provide more protection there. And as seen in the Battle of Wakanda, it is extremely packed with machine guns and missile launchers all over it. So the next one would be War Machine Mark V. Unfortunately, this is the only War Machine armor to not make an appearance on screen. The suit was made and used sometime during the 5 years following the snap, and according to officially released artworks, we see that it is visually similar to the Mark IV armor that we just mentioned, and it is presumed to have all the features of Mark IV, more or less. And then there's the War Machine Mark VI, seen in Avengers Endgame following the 5-year time skip. It was the one used during the time heist mission to get the Power Stone. We don't really see much of it in action other than knocking out Star-Lord, so it must be pretty powerful considering Star-Lord's thick skull. Now the next one is actually an upgraded version of Mark VI, which is the matching quantum time travel suits that all of the remaining Avengers got. But in War Machine's case, the nanotech suit was layered over his Mark VI armor. Its features include immediate materialization around the user, size manipulation, and a time-space GPS for accurate displacement through time and space. And last but not least, the War Machine Armor Mark VII, also known as Iron Patriot Mark II, seen in the later part of Avengers Endgame. This suit is much larger and bulkier than all of its predecessors, with a red and blue color scheme. It was stored in the New Avengers facility until it was used during the battle for Earth. It is extremely heavily weaponized like crazy, the obvious weapons being the dual double-barreled back cannons and bomb dispensers kept in both thighs. So those are the 10 different designs for War Machine. Next is an extra mention of Rhodey's advanced leg braces, or what I would call the Walk Machine Mark 1. These are the prosthetics that Tony Stark developed for him following his crippling injuries in Civil War, and following a certain period of rehab and training, we see that he is now capable of walking around like a normal person using the Walk Machine, but it's uncertain about his control of his, wank machine. But some believe that he has actually been indirectly bragging about its size, so it should be okay. These two still have hope. We should also note that we've had two different versions of Colonel James Rupert Rhodes. Rhodey Mark 1 was seen in Iron Man 1, played by Terrence Howard, and in the following MCU movies we got Rhodey Mark 2, played by Don Cheadle. They did an amazing job at just brushing the issue away by having Don Cheadle telling us to just get over it and deal with it at the beginning of Iron Man 2. So that's the end of our video, thanks for watching and goodbye.